Introducing the new music club for people who hate music clubs. With BMG Music Service, you get 8 CDs for the price of 1, with nothing more to buy ever.
Hey, welcome back to Shaun Spins. This is episode 27, and I'm your host, Shaun. I hope everybody is safe and well out there. And we have a little bit something different today. We're going to be doing a contest, and I usually don't do contests, yet the last few weeks here have been very difficult, and this contest has helped, reading and listening to people's entries and just thinking about the idea of why I love CDs. So here I am, doing the contest now. There's a few rules. Originally there was a time limit. They took that away, which is good for me. Next rule, you have to explain why you love CDs. Then you have to show the CDs from C and D, 10 of each, and the bookends with B and E. They have to be in order, which we'll get to that in a minute. Let's start off though with why I love CDs. Now, I grew up in a time of records, cassette tapes, and 8-tracks. Yes, I can still remember that clunking sound of the 8-track changing. So when CDs started getting very popular, it was a big deal. It was like space age. For me, the first reason I would say I love CDs is growing up listening to my father's Doors records. There was one in particular that was completely worn out on side 2. So the first time I got to listen to side 2 was as a CD. And CDs were thought of, they last forever. We didn't know about laser rot. And it was amazing that they last forever because I would wear out cassettes, records. My dad wore out records. I still wear out records that I'll play. So another thing for me too is sometimes the CD would sound a little better because the record would be so worn out that I'd be excited to listen to the CD. Now there are some CDs, the quality to me is nowhere near what the record is. Yet, like I said, the idea of not having an issue with sound like it being worn out was a big deal. Couldn't afford them at first. So for me, a lot of the collection at the time was cassettes going into the 90s. Now, another thing with CDs for me, another reason, because a lot of people have been having a lot of disdain towards the CD, like, right, throw these away. Well, when I was growing up in the late 80s, early 90s, going onward, that's all that was in the stores was CDs. Tower Records in the late 90s should have been called Tower CDs. Best Buy just had aisles and aisles and aisles of CDs. Then they had about 4 aisles of cassette tapes. Then those disappeared. Then it was all CDs. Kurt Cobain even talked about it when In Utero came out in his journals. He wanted it to come out like on 8-track. And then eventually, down the road, it said, well, we'll put it out on CD. And he wanted it originally just in local record shops. So let's start from there. Here's my original copy of In Utero. It came out on CD and cassette. There was no record for this when I bought it. I bought this the day it came out. I still have the receipt in it because I remember being super mad how expensive it was. It's like $15. And I was like, that's ludicrous. And I think that's why the record industry loves CDs, because cheap to produce and make a lot of money. I think for a lot of us, we started realizing how cheap CDs were in the late 90s when we started getting CDs all the time in the mail for internet and realizing these CDs must be really cheap. I like bonus tracks on CDs. So here's the In Utero from Europe that a friend of my dad's brought over for me. It's got a bonus track. Sometimes the bonus tracks are hidden. Sometimes there's like an extra concert on there. Now for me also, there were certain bands I could not find on record and I only found on CD. Like here's Tad, 8-Way Santa. I never found this on record growing up. I bet you a lot of people wouldn't throw this CD out. That's pretty rare with the band cover. Here's another one. This is Pat Smear. This only came out on CD. So how can I have disdain for CD? I love that album. This is Sweet 75. That was only on CD. I don't even remember seeing this on cassette when it came out when I bought it. Didn't see a record. Now let's do something a little newer. This is from the early 2000s. This is a tribute for the Ramones. Same idea, like it only came out on CD. And I bought this the day it came out because it came with a bonus track if you got it like then. So let's go into how I organize my CDs. So my CDs, records, music, comic books, none of it is in order in alphabetical. None of it. My mind works differently. I don't like using folders to organize paperwork. I'll have like piles, yet I know where things are. Same deal with music. I might put the bands together, like all Nirvana or all the Ramones, but sometimes they might be separate. For me, it's like ease of reach on a cabinet and where my eyes go. Like, I like this one. So there is no order to it. But I know the order, and most people would be like, well, where do you keep, like, this right there. It's on that shelf. It's on, like, I'll know, same thing with records. Let's go to some video proof here from the cassettes. Pennywise is next to REM, Nirvana. But then there's another Nirvana over there. Wait a minute. Ani DeFranco is next to the Beastie Boys and Jane's Addiction. And somehow or another, there's another REM down there. The L7s are separated. So the records, you got Flipper next to George Clinton and Elliott Smith. Operation Ivy next to the Allman Brothers. Erykah Badu next to Sonic Youth and the Circle Jerks. So there is no real order other than things I like to listen to and ease of reach, and I know where it is. So if you need any help getting over having to have everything in complete order and alphabetical order, I can help. Let me know. So for the contest, I grabbed 10 of C, 10 of D, and I did put them in alphabetical order. And the way I did it, if the band is just like a name, like Jimi Hendrix, it's by last name for H. If the band is abbreviated, such as DYS, I treated it as one word. So the Doors would come before DYS, because Y comes after O. So I didn't treat it as separate things like Department of, no. So let's start with the bookend. Now for the bookend, I went with the VCR Rewards Club I just got in the mail the other day from Chris Burt. So this is Burt's Best. This is some great artwork, and I was really glad he sent this. So this is for B. Let's go into C. We got Cage the Elephant, the Shy Lights, Chibo Motto, The Clash, singles, Kamen Rider, Sam Cooke, Alice Cooper, Ramona Cordova. Wonderful, wonderful album. Elvis Costello, best of. And last but not least for C, Counting Crows. I like this one because it's got a lot of live stuff on it. Let's go into D. Dead Kennedys. And here's another example. Sometimes I'll prefer to listen to the CD because I don't want to wear out the record. So I have the record, but I don't want to wear it out as much. Dead Prez. Let's Get Free. Def Cab for Cutie. Deconstruction. I wonder how many Vinyl Community members know that band. Dinosaur Jr. Another thing about CDs, some of the CD singles, neat stuff. DOA. The Doors, Strange Days. Dramarama. Bob Dylan. This is one I was talking about earlier. I have multiple copies of this on record. It's very difficult to listen to because how much it cracks and hisses and pops. So sometimes I prefer to listen to the CD for that reason. Last but not least for D, DYS. And the bookend for E, the Evens. So there's my collection. I had an art professor in college they used to always joke that 8-track was the ultimate format when working on art, because you don't have to worry about getting it dirty, like touching a record or a CD. You can just slam the 8-track. I feel the same way about cassette tapes in cars. I love cassette tapes in cars. I mean, I remember the first time I heard a CD player in a car, and it skipped so much, it was ludicrous. And then I remember a couple years later when my father got the changer in the trunk. That was amazing. Here's another thought. A lot of times now, the CD will be cheaper than the cassette tape and the digital format. It just shows how many computers no longer have a CD drive. That's it for this week's episode 27. And until next time, hope everybody's safe and well, and be nice to each other and take care.